I did not change my diet, only the order I ate it. 30 days later, my cravings felt quieter. That is the plot twist. If you have tried eating clean and still snack at night, you are not weak. You might be eating in the wrong sequence. This is not restriction. Same foods, same calories, just a different entrance order, like letting traffic merge instead of crash. A CGM does not judge you. It shows patterns. And patterns can change fast when digestion speed changes. In 20 minutes, you will see how fiber first shapes glucose peaks, insulin demand, and the craving loop without dieting heroics. If willpower was enough, none of us would own a snack drawer. Today, we upgrade from motivation to mechanism. Fiber changes the speed of absorption. Slower entry means a smaller wave, and smaller waves do not crash as hard. Insulin is not bad. It is necessary. But when the wave is huge, insulin works overtime, and your appetite often pays later. Week 1 is baseline. We eat normally and record spikes, dips, and cravings because you can't fix what you can't see. Cravings are not random. They're often scheduled by your biology, especially after big glucose swings. Same plate, 2 sequences. If the curves differ, it is not calories, it is delivery speed and hormone timing. If you have diabetes, meds, or concerning symptoms, personalize with a clinician. This experiment explains trends, not medical clearance. The first comparison is shocking. Rice first hits like a wave. Fiber first turns the same meal into a calmer hill. Fiber and protein slow gastric emptying. That means glucose arrives later and steadier, giving insulin time to keep up. Now we map the timeline after eating minute by minute, so the curve becomes a story you can actually interpret. After eating, glucose rises first in blood, then in interstitial fluid. CGM lags, so timing matters when you compare foods. Most spikes are speed problems, not bad foods. Slowing absorption reduces peak height and shortens the crash afterward. Control room objective, smaller peaks, shorter duration, fewer dips, and fewer cravings because stability changes behavior more than guilt ever will. Peak is not the only story. Duration matters too, because longer elevation means longer insulin work and often stronger hunger rebound. Movement helps, but we keep it constant. This month is about food order, so we do not confuse the data. Fiber can boost satiety signals and quiet ghrelin. You do not feel disciplined. You feel less hunted by snacks. When the dip is smaller, the brain screams less. Many cravings are your nervous system responding to volatility. We are not shrinking portions. We are changing sequence. If results appear, it proves physiology can be guided without restriction. Fiber first works across cuisines. Beans before rice, salad before pasta, veggies before bread. The rule is flexible, not fragile. Soluble fiber forms a gel, slowing absorption. Insoluble adds bulk and timing. Together, they shape how fast energy enters. By day 7, the curve is already calmer. Not perfect, just predictably less chaotic. And that is where control begins. You can't intimidate biology, but you can nudge it. And nudges beat pep talks when your cravings show up at 9 p.m. At restaurants, fiber first is a shield. Start with vegetables or soup, then eat the starch, same joy, fewer spikes. Food is not the only variable. Stress can raise glucose without extra carbs. So we tag stress to avoid blaming dinner. Now the conflict, cortisol, it can turn a calm meal into a spike, and it can turn a small dip into a craving storm. Cortisol releases emergency fuel from the liver, helpful in danger, but when it is daily stress, it keeps glucose elevated unnecessarily. If glucose rises without food, it is not mystery carbs. It is survival chemistry, pretending your inbox is a tiger. This is how people develop fear foods. The timeline matters. Stress first, spike later, broccoli falsely convicted. When you align events, you see causality. Fiber first helps, but it can't fully cancel stress-driven glucose output. Cravings often arrive after the dip, not the peak. The dip feels like urgency, even when you have plenty of energy. Big swings can trigger strong hunger. The goal is not zero spikes, it is fewer dramatic swings that hijack your decisions. Fiber first is not magic, but it is a buffer. Even under stress, slower absorption reduces how extreme the wave becomes. Poor sleep worsens insulin sensitivity. That means the same breakfast hits harder, and cravings get louder before lunch. Caffeine plus stress can amplify the curve. It is not bad, but timing and dose matter if you want stable cravings. The dashboard teaches humility. The same meal behaves differently under stress and sleep loss. Context is a hidden ingredient. Breakfast is where fiber first shines. Veggies and protein first can change the entire day's appetite trajectory. Fiber first does not require fancy foods. Any vegetable, bean, or fiber-rich starter counts. The rule is sequence, not purity. Even snacks have sequence. Fiber first, then the carb, reduces that quick roller coaster that sends you back for more. Increase fiber gradually. Gas can happen early as microbes adapt. We want steady progress, not a painful gut rebellion. Fiber feeds microbes that produce short-chain fatty acids. Those metabolites can support gut barrier and even influence appetite signals. A healthier barrier reduces irritation signals. It won't fix everything, but it can lower background noise that drive cravings. Fiber first is socially survivable. You are not refusing food. You are just choosing the opening scene before the main act. If you feel deprived, you won't last 30 days. This works because it keeps pleasure while changing physiology. Week 2 is repetition. The body learns patterns, and patterns shape hormones. Consistency is where the craving volume starts dropping. Week 1 conclusion. Sequence changes the curve. Week 2 asks a harder question. Does it change cravings in real life? Week 2 is where the habit becomes less effort, and the body starts expecting movement after food like a normal rhythm. Notice recovery time. Returning to baseline sooner means less insulin exposure and less chance of that hungry rebound later. Walking improves insulin efficiency. The same key works with less force, because muscle becomes more receptive to glucose. That post-dinner drowsy slump often improves, because glucose swings are smaller and blood flow is balanced rather than stagnant. Blood pressure benefits show up subtly, often in morning readings, small shifts that matter when repeated for years. Movement supports vascular function over time. It won't cure hypertension alone, but it can reduce strain and improve resilience. If you fall asleep faster, it is not placebo. Your body is less stimulated by ongoing digestion and less primed for late snacking. Many people wake less at night because reflux risk drops and the nervous system shifts toward recovery after gentle movement. Stability affects hormones. Fewer swings can quiet hunger signals, which makes discipline feel easier without forcing it. Control room reads week 2, smaller peaks, shorter duration, slightly calmer nighttime heart rate, and fewer snack loop events. Food still matters. More fiber at dinner slows absorption, and walking stacks with fiber for an even smoother curve. Simple sequencing protein and fiber first reduces peak, and the walk then accelerates clearance, a 1-2 punch. When cravings hit, walking can interrupt the script 10 minutes, gives your brain time to de-escalate the urge. Movement is not just calories. It changes brain chemistry and stress tone, which is why it can lower the need for dessert. As evenings calm, HRV often improves, an indirect sign your autonomic system is spending more time in recovery mode. If the stack is too heavy late meal, alcohol, stress walking helps less, and the fix becomes a whole routine. If you drink, keep it earlier. Late alcohol fragments sleep and can erase some benefits of post-meal movement. Caffeine too late raises arousal, worsens sleep, and makes next day glucose worse. Your walk can't fully outvote that. For older joints, shorten stride, keep posture tall, and choose flat surfaces. Your goal is repeatable comfort, not soreness. Week 2 conclusion. The walk becomes a nightly reset button, less glucose chaos, fewer cravings, and a smoother runway into sleep. Week 3, we test the hardest variable, stress, because stress can raise glucose and blood pressure even when dinner is identical. When stress comes first, glucose can rise without extra food. Your body releases fuel for action, not because you ate wrong. Cortisol is protective in emergencies, but chronic activation keeps the system on high alert and makes recovery harder. Blood pressure spikes during stress are normal, but frequent spikes create vascular, where your goal is reducing frequency and duration. On stress days, walking acts like a pressure release valve, still not perfect, but noticeably better than sitting and stewing. Now we go deeper. Why a walk changes 3 systems at once: glucose handling, vascular tone, and sleep circuitry. After dinner, muscle can store glucose as glycogen. Walking increases demand, so glucose is cleared into storage instead of lingering. A smaller insulin response matters, because lower insulin exposure supports less hunger rebound and may improve long-term sensitivity. Movement increases shear stress on arteries, prompting healthier endothelial signaling, one reason regular walking supports blood pressure over time. Control room maps the network. Better evenings create better sleep, and better sleep improves next-day glucose tolerance and cravings. After meals, blood shifts to digestion. In some older adults, BP drops, so the walk must be gentle, monitored, and sometimes delayed. Use the talk test. If you can speak comfortably, intensity is right. We want circulation, not a stress hormone surge. Walking helps gastric motility, reducing reflux pressure for many people, which can translate into fewer awakenings and better sleep quality. When reflux and digestion noise drop, the brain allows deeper sleep. Deeper sleep improves insulin sensitivity and lowers stress reactivity. Stability reduces late snacking. Fewer swings means fewer emergency hunger signals that feel urgent and irresistible. The goal is metabolic. Quiet time at night, less digestion, less elevated glucose, more recovery signaling for vessels and brain. Reducing variability matters. Steadier blood pressure means less wear on arteries, even if the average number changes only modestly. Better sleep reduces the morning caffeine rescue cycle, and that alone can improve blood pressure and glucose stability later. Weekends are the trap. Later dinners and skip walks undo momentum. So we design a flexible version that still happens. Control room reveals it. Consistency beats intensity. So we set a minimum 8 minutes, so weekends do not reset the system. On busy nights, 8 minutes is enough to keep the habit alive and deliver meaningful glucose clearance benefits. If you can't walk outside, indoor laps or gentle stairs work. Just keep effort easy, especially if blood pressure is sensitive. Social nights succeed when walking becomes part conversation movement. Does not steal joy. It can extend it. Track simple outcomes: minutes walked, bedtime, awakenings, morning pressure, and cravings, not obsessive numbers, just patterns. Stop immediately for chest pain, severe dizziness, or faintness. Those are medical red flags, not pushing through moments. If you are on glucose lowering or blood pressure medications, your response can differ. Coordinate with clinician before big routine changes. Walking helps, but portions still matter. Smaller dinners plus walking reduce reflux and glucose duration more than either alone. When dinner shifts earlier, walking becomes even more powerful because it protects a buffer that your sleep physiology desperately wants. By midweek 3, you start predicting your curve, and prediction is control because you are no longer surprised into snacking. Now we convert this into a plan. You can keep simple rules, realistic pacing, and clear expectations for what changes by day 30. Early as microbes adapt. We want steady progress, not a painful gut rebellion. Fiber feeds microbes that produce short-chain fatty acids. Those metabolites can support gut barrier and even influence appetite signals. A healthier barrier reduces irritation signals. It won't fix everything, but it can lower background noise that drives. Week 4 is refinement. We keep the rule, but customize fiber sources, dose, and timing so it fits your real routine. Different fibers suit different guts. Variety usually wins more microbes fed, fewer symptoms, and less boredom over 30 days. Fiber first is not only dinner. Starting breakfast this way can reduce the all-day snack loop by preventing the first big swing. More fiber is not always better. Too much too fast causes gas. The best dose is the one you can repeat comfortably. Earlier dinner gives your gut more recovery time. Sequence helps, but timing plus sequence often produces the cleanest nights. Pair fiber with water. Hydration supports transit and reduces constipation risk, making the plan sustainable instead of punishing. Movement stacks benefits, but it is optional. The core experiment is sequence. Walking is a bonus lever, not the price of entry. The best routine is a script you can run under stress. One breath, fiber first, protein next, carbs last. Eating slower enhances satiety signals. Fiber first works even better when you give the gut time to send "we are safe" messages. Limits matter. CGM has lag, guts vary, and symptoms deserve medical attention. Fiber first is a tool, not a medical label. If tracking or rules trigger anxiety, stop. If you are on glucose-lowering meds, coordinate changes with a clinician for safety. Analyze peak height, recovery time, dip depth, and craving episodes. Those metrics connect physiology to real behavior you actually care about. Your goal is not perfect eating. It is a simple report: what stabilizes you, what destabilizes you, and what you will keep. No food is the villain. The villain is chaos. Sequence is a director that keeps the story smooth without canceling your favorite scenes. Week for dashboard, lower peaks. Fewer dips, fewer cravings, and calmer nights. Not dramatic, just repeatable biology doing its job. Day 30 is not a transformation montage. It is fewer emergencies. You stop negotiating with cravings because the system is steadier. The takeaway is simple: change the speed, change the hormones, change the loop. Sequence is a lever that does not require dieting. If you remember one rule: fiber first, add protein, keep carbs, hydrate, ramp slowly. That is the whole playbook. People with strong cravings and big swings often benefit most because stability reduces the urge for constant quick energy rescue. You do not need perfect curves. You need fewer extremes. Your body rewards consistency with steadier hunger and steadier decisions. If you tried fiber first, what starter would you choose? Salad, soup, beans, or chia? And what craving time do you want to quiet? In 30 days, the pattern is clear. Fiber first smooths glucose, reduces dips, and makes cravings less urgent without banning foods. You do not have to fear carbs. You have to respect timing and delivery. Sequence changes physiology without turning life into punishment. This works across cuisines because it is behavior, not a menu. You keep your foods and change the order. Final message: food is not good or bad in isolation. Context and sequence decide the curve, and the curve often decides cravings. As a physician, I like low-risk, high-adherence tools. Fiber first is simple, measurable, and it respects real human lives. Start tomorrow with 5 bites of fiber before the starch. That is enough to begin changing the speed of the wave. If this helped, subscribe, and share. We are turning everyday habits into science movies your body can actually use. Your starter does not need to be Instagram. It needs to be edible. Consistency beats aesthetics every time. Use fiber first as a tool, not a test. When you repeat small, calm choices, your body responds with quieter cravings. 30 days later, the lesson is boring in the best way. Slow the wave, and the rest of the night gets easier. Run it like a study. Same dinner twice, different order, log cravings and sleep. That is how you turn guessing into evidence. The goal is not control through fear. It is control through understanding, because understanding creates habits you can keep. If your gut needs time, go slow. Adaptation is normal. Comfort is part of success, not a bonus feature. Report locked: what worked, what did not, and why. The best results come from respecting both signal and noise. Tell me your plan. Which starter will you try for 7 days? And what craving time do you want to shrink first? If it feels like punishment, it won't last. Sequence works because it changes biology without asking you to hate food. Fiber first, then protein, then carbs. Small script, big effects. Not dramatic, just how human digestion works. Final line, slow the wave, and you quiet the crash. That is the simplest way to reduce cravings without dieting. Thanks for watching. If you want the next 30-day experiment, comment your idea and we will build a science movie together. If you want extra credit, add a short walk. But remember, sequence alone already moves a needle for many people. The best reminder is visible and simple. A note on your plate beats a complicated plan you forget when you are hungry. If a habit disrupts relationships, it fails. Fiber first works quietly in families because you do not need special meals. Travel version, order any vegetable side first. You can't control everything on the road, but you can control the opening scene. For midlife metabolism, small levers matter more. You do not need extremes, just less volatility and more predictable appetite. The trend is the win, less variability, fewer dips, fewer cravings. That is how small daily patterns become long-term health patterns. Give your starter some credit. It is not a superhero, but it is a reliable tool, and reliable tools reshape routines. Remember the hidden lever, calm. A calmer nervous system changes glucose output and appetite, signaling more than people realize. Don't chase single readings. Respect repeating patterns. That is how you learn, change behavior, and keep the improvements. 30 days later, the lesson is yours. Eat the fiber first, slow the wave, and let calmer biology write a calmer ending.